Monte Carlo or bust. With that phrase ringing in the ears, Hero's 2018 season kicks off with another classic, the Winter Challenge to Monte Carlo. The 21st edition of this evocatively named adventure would recreate the atmosphere and style of the famous Monte Carlo rallies of the 1950s. The upmarket seaside town of Touquet, known as Paris by the Sea, and the elegant Westminster Hotel, watering hole to many an international celebrity of the Roaring '20s, would make for a fitting starting point for the upcoming adventure. An eclectic mix of machines made up the entries, with only pre-1986 cars being eligible. Although the Winter Challenge is intended for the more experienced crews, there were some new faces as well as the more familiar ones.
So are you looking forward to this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, be interesting to see if we have some snow.
That's why we're here, really. Get a bit slippy, bit of snow. As you can see, it's a very slow process fitting chains. So I just hope we don't have to do it in a hurry.
Definitely to sort of enjoy it and get to the finish and have the experience of driving in the mountains and on snow and go up the famous passes like called the Touquet.
For Tim Lawrence, the theft of his beloved MG a few weeks before had not deterred him from competing.
A man found it in Birmingham and he Googled it and found that it was stolen. But it was back after 2 days, very anxious, and then there's been a lot of work to do since, but no serious damage from the actual theft. The bits and pieces, but no, I'm here.
After a disappointing Le Jog due to a breakdown, Tony Shiak and Rachel Wakefield were hoping for a smoother run.
I'm a bit nervous, feeling very rusty because we didn't do anything last year really. We got to read the maps on the way up through Scotland on the jog and we helped out, but I haven't done any timing for over a year now. I've warned him he's got to be very patient because he might be turning around a lot.
For me, the biggest challenge is to make my way from the north of France to the south using those 1 to 50,000 maps. They're 3 times in scale different to the ones that we're used to in the UK, and I hate them already.
Venturing down the eastern regions of France through challenging and stunning terrain over 5 days, we would end up with a run over the iconic Col de Touquet before dropping down for a night in the most famous rally stop of them all, Monte Carlo. What would be in store for our crews was anyone's guess. Day 1 dawns a little grey and very cold.
Here we are at the Touquet at the start of the Winter Challenge. I'm a bit apprehensive. We have some really good crews on this event, so it's going to be a really, really tough one. Who knows who's going to win, but we're starting with a really icy start, so that bodes well for the snow.
Nice and cold this morning. See how the weather turns out as we get down to the south of France. But I'm sure we'll have a good play.
We're going to get worse than this, but it's what we come here for. It's called the Winter Challenge after all, isn't it? They're fantastic roads, whatever happens. And if the weather's like this, then brilliant. But the roads, the organisation, everything is just spot on.
What are you hoping for?
To get there.
Yeah, a nice glass of champagne in Monte Carlo.
From the Gallic west coast, the route sees us pass through the flatlands of the Somme and skirt around the congestion of Paris. 3 competitive regularities in the afternoon take us to the overnight halt in Beaune.
Good one.
At precisely 8:01 a.m, our select group of hardy adventurers leave Le Touquet for 5 days and 1 night section of hard-fought competition. 1,600 kilometres of spectacular scenery and the best roads that France has to offer lay ahead of us. Once out on the open road, crews press on through the mist-covered flatlands of northern France in search of the more scenic terrain of the south. Traditionally, this has been known as the concentration run, when a lot of distance at the start of the rally would be covered in a short amount of time. As such, there would be no serious competition, with this first morning being treated as a shakedown for the main event as we continue our dash for the hills. The beautiful medieval walled town of Provence played host to the first day's lunch stop. Traversing the breadth of France would not only prove a treat for the motorist, but also for the coffee connoisseur, with regular stops at some of the most fantastic hostelries along the way. But even at this early stage, navigators had their work cut out when trying to come to grips with French maps.
The challenges are the maps as regards getting across France, because they're not exactly what you call accurate. You know, once we get into the mountains and having the challenge of actually dealing with the snow and ice if we get any when we get up into the high ground. It's different than the sort of normal sort of stuff that we do, and I think that's what attracts it to you.
The lunch hall would also present our crews with their first pit stop of the event.
Unless we'd now jack up the back wheel, spin it.
Yeah, we just don't have a trip meter that works. So hopefully for regularity we'll have a trip meter in a few minutes, if we can make it work and work it out. So that's all we're aware of at the moment, unless they've found something else. It's done the jog with the previous owner. Prior to that it was owned by Sir Ralph Robbins, who, when I spoke to him, he said he bought it by accident. So it's sort of had an accidental fun history, and so we're trying to add to the accidental fun.
After lunch, the competition started in earnest with a link section crossing the Seine southeast of Paris and taking us into Bourgogne for Regularity 1. Designed to break the navigators in gently, the Regularity would certainly blow any cobwebs away.
Go!
First blood went to Carnegie and Bosted on just a 4-second penalty, with Bloxage and Canavan just 1 second behind. Passing through the region, famous as the home of the Chardonnay grape, the afternoon's coffee stop would be in Chablis. Crews wisely steered clear of the wine and opted for non-alcoholic refreshments and clearer heads.
We've got here, that's the good thing. Whether we came the direct route is another thing. I couldn't tell you that, but we're here. We're here. And it's a lovely day, and we're enjoying ourselves. He's very ratty, but that's not a problem.
Well, what's not to like? It's sunny and it's winter. No, absolutely perfect, brilliant. Again, love the route. Glad I came all the way from New York, where it was about -10 when I left, and about 2 foot of snow on the ground in my garden.
The map reading's been interesting, and we've been lost a few times. We've had lots of laughs, scared ourselves a few times, but other than that, it's been fantastic. Yeah, missed a time point, missed a regularity completely, which was a bit of a mistake. But anyway, we're fully up to speed now.
Just yards from the cafe, the TR4 of Tony Shiak and Rachel Wakefield suffered a catastrophic trunnion failure, and even the ever-resourceful Dave Smith was left scratching his head. This early setback was extremely disheartening after the disappointment the duo had experienced on Le Jog just 2 months before. With one casualty already, the going was only going to get tougher as we headed further south. The competition continued with 2 more regularities, followed by a third, starting at dusk and heading into the darkness. After driving over 600 kilometres or 375 miles, the day's route ends at the overnight halt at the Hotel Mercure in Beaune Centre.
It's been fantastic actually because I'm driving. I'm not moaning. I'm just saying we've had a wonderful day because I've been driving. I haven't been navigating, and I think I've done quite well actually, but you have to ask the navigator that. Yeah, I'm pleased. Good day. Good day.
Found all the controls, didn't take any maximum minutes, dropped a little bit of time. Good solid run, I suppose. Not the lowest penalties we've ever had, but no high penalties either.
Well, we made a couple of mistakes, but overall, I don't know, ask us after we've seen the results.
French maps, that's the problem. Yeah, it's only the Ordnance Survey, I think, really. They do a lot better with that.
As soon as you just start going round the corner.
Yeah. Trying to protect stones from hitting the lamps tomorrow. We're going to need them the following night. I can't do it up here, so. And I'm going to make sure the car's tucked up well for the night and then go and have a beer.
After checking positions, a welcome beer accompanied some tales of previous daring do and would round off the day nicely. Day 2, and the forlorn-looking TR4 of Tony Shiak and Rachel Wakefield sits in the corner of the car park while the pair tuck into a hearty breakfast, along with those still able to continue the challenge. So what would the second day have in store for our intrepid travellers?
But today's a different day. 7 regularities today, I think, mainly after coffee, in fact all entirely after coffee. A guy tells us that we can probably expect some snow later on, maybe this afternoon, so we'll see.
It's a fairly short day. I think we finish just soon after 5 tonight, so yeah, looking forward to it.
We're 6th overall, which is good because we didn't want to be first, because being first car on the road is quite scary.
Good news is we're not last, believe it or not. So that's a major feat in itself.
And what was Tim Lawrence's tale of woe this morning?
The service crew are repairing the fractured exhaust and they're putting splints either side with some metal banding round it and gunk inside it. So Terry's underneath it. He'll do a good job. They always work magic, these guys, so I'm confident we'll be back on the road, stay in the competition.
It was nice that some unexpected friends from the east popped by for a photo opportunity.
Hello.
As we leave the TR4 behind, would we ever see the blue machine again? Leaving Beaune, day 2 would again see crews push south, this time skirting the Swiss border and heading for the Jura Mountains. But first, it's a long link section to Beaufort for a mid-morning coffee before it's on with the fun bit. Three regularities before lunch would kick off the first full day of competition. It was evident the roads were beginning to get a lot more interesting as we wound our way through the vineyards of the Burgundy region. As we climb higher through the Forêt de Morat, the temperature drops and the much-anticipated snow, although sporadic, starts to become evident. For only the second day of competition, the crews to watch were certainly making themselves known. Throughout the day, the two 911s of Gressley and White and Bloxage and Canavan constantly vie for positions at the sharp end, along with the mighty Volvo of Carnegie and Bosden. The morning's competitive route gave way to a much-appreciated lunch stop overlooking impressive views of Lac de Voulon.
This morning we've climbed into the mountains, found our first bit of snow, which is good, and we're at a gorgeous location here for lunch on leg 2. The Winter Challenge follows a traditional 1950s Monte Carlo rally, which is a map-based event. The first day is always traditionally a concentration run, which doesn't have any competition. Yesterday we decided to add some in just to give them something to do yesterday afternoon, but it was a long old way yesterday from the Touquet all across mid-France to Beaune.
After fortifying themselves with some truly magnifique French cooking, Hero's mechanical assistance was once more on hand to offer help, this time to locals whose preferred parking spot seemed to be a ditch. Who can beat those guys? Leaving the spectacular lunch stop behind, we make our way to the first test of the rally at the Circuit Jura South karting track. First out would be the nimble Lancia Fulvia of Mawini and Gallagher, who put in a time at 2 minutes and 14 seconds and would see them claim 4th quickest in class and 12th overall. Coming all the way from New Zealand were Mike and Paula Donald in their BMW, putting in a time at 2 minutes 16, which would place them 15th overall. Prosser and Neil Sunbeam Alpine also stopped the clock at 2 minutes 60, placing them respectively at mid-table. Next up came the Austin Healey 3000 of Walmsley and Needham. Walmsley using every muscle to steer their way to 18th overall with a time of 2 minutes 20. The remaining crews took on the kart track challenge with enthusiasm, a great change of pace from the morning's regularities, but soon the open road would once more beckon. Heading on along the French-Swiss border, we aim for the Western Alps. In the space of a day, the landscape was evidently changing, and the rest of the afternoon would be taken up with a further 4 regularities through increasingly mountainous terrain. The dense mountain forest also seemed to be the natural habitat of some truly strange folk. Pressing on through glorious picture postcard scenery, alpine tunnels, and even more pockets of snow, we traverse several mountains and valleys, climbs and descents. Real alpine stuff, this. We traverse through the charming village of On-le-Chat and all along Lac de Sillin and Le Col de Couliard. The final destination of this shorter second day is the overnight stop at the Golden Tulip Hotel in the spa town of Aix-les-Bains.
Today was not bad. We had a lot of luck. We made no faults. Ellis was excellent today. Sometimes we lost a little bit time or went a little bit too fast, but that's normal. But we never get lost. It was excellent.
Well, mixed fortunes. I think we were sort of reasonably happy with the way we thought it went on the road. Not so happy when we saw the results. I think we moved up one space overnight, so we're hoping maybe we've moved up another space. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. But good, a lot of fun.
At the end of leg 2, the leaderboard has Carnegie and Bosted just 7 seconds ahead of Gressley and White, with Hancock's and Lamley in third. The coveted top 5 spots are separated by a mere 45 seconds. The hotel bar, spiritual home of every rally competitor, makes for a fitting end to another cracking day. The morning of day 3 gives us time to catch up with the competitors.
We got around, no wrong slots, no mistakes. Got bumped on a bit of snow by the rover that got himself beached. Cost us 30 seconds, but otherwise, more of the same today will be fine.
At least we didn't get stuck behind the rover, so we got to
didn't
go
get
and
stuck.
play.
We didn't get lost. It was all under control.
Everything in the right order, at a time that satisfied us, and I think we did actually one regularity where we're the only person who got 0. I've got that right, Ken?
Yeah, we did clean one and nobody else did.
Yeah, so we're feeling smug for rank amateurs, but that'll probably blow today.
Tow rope worked as we got dragged out again. No,
we found out we should have had
full
winter
snow
tyres, but
yeah.
we didn't have winter tyres.
So we'll see.
But we made it. We got it.
We got it. That's the main thing.
Yes. How we got here, we don't know.
We don't know.
I made a minor error of missing the turning left over the snow. We were looking for the turning left and it just looked like a bit of a snowy lay-by. So we went on past, turned around, dropped us a bit of time. But generally it was good, enjoyed it.
Well, the Big Jaguar ran very well yesterday. We had 1 or 2 navigational hiccups, including the forest track obscured by a snowy car park, which cost us dearly. But the car's got very good traction on the loose, and we ran basically very well. But it's, the top 10 split by mere seconds, and we're just hoping today to redress that and get back up to at least class leader.
The morning also sees the welcome return of Shiak and Wakefield to the rally with a tale of their own excursion to repair the TR4.
We were 200 metres from the control and we turned around a roundabout and the trunnion on the left hand side and the upright snapped. So it's a 5/8 inch piece of steel and broken half, so we ended up trailering the car to a little place called Liebach in Germany yesterday, which is a 400 kilometre trip. Went to see some Triumph friends of mine. So we left there at about 4 o'clock yesterday, having repaired the Triumph with a complete new left-hand corner on the front suspension, and did about 600 k's last night to get back here. So the car's fabulous. We're back in it. We're not going to trouble the scorers, but we've got a great day today coming.
Big day today in the notorious orange Lancia.
We've become a bit famous for being fast but last. That's our motto, isn't it?
Armed with a new uprated set of maps issued by the organisers, teams start to leave the Golden Tulip for leg 3 of our journey as we head for the rugged mountains and plateaus of the Vercors Massif. Continuing south past Grenoble, today would be the Monster Day, with crews also tackling a tough night section before seeing their beds in Valence. Peter and Pat Neville were certainly keen to get the day off to a great start as their Volvo deftly navigated vineyards in the early morning light. The morning challenge would see us climb to the snow line and through misty hairpins and hill villages en route to the coffee stop. The honours on Regularity 1 went to Lawrence and Davies in their MGB. Hancocks and Lambley claimed Regularity 2, while Gressley and White were top dogs on Regularity 3. Hammond and Simpson in their thunderous Rover P4 were having great fun, even though they would be little threat to crews at the sharp end.
There you go, guys.
Thank you.
See you later.
Emerging out of the mist, we arrive at Time Control 3-2 for morning coffee at the Café Col de Granier, a charming venue in the shadow of Mont Granier. At this point, the battle for the top was turning into a real game of snakes and ladders. Some navigators will use every trick in the book, including follow the leader.
I just have to watch which way the other car went, otherwise my nav will be crossed. Because he'll ask me where did they go. If I say I don't know, I'm in trouble. Here he is. It's going all right, actually. Lovely morning. A couple of close moments, but It's beautiful scenery, lovely weather, so doing all right.
As we push onwards through world-famous ski slopes, Tests 2 and 3 promise to be a real treat. A slither around the ice racing circuit in the ski resort of Lens-en-Vercors.
4, 3, 2, 1.
The ice circuit usually accommodates 4 cars racing together. However, the time trial format would suit the classic better.
Your hairpin right.
Kleindert and Brignall in their Austin Morris were on great form, putting in a time at 2 minutes 28 and placing them 4th overall. The stately Fiat of Moss and Durden was proving to be a right handful, with armfuls of opposite lock required to get them on the scoreboard. Hancocks and Lamley were, as usual, giving it their all and securing 8th spot on the timesheet. Despite hiding their misdemeanours behind a tree, Ed Abbott and Pete Johnson certainly earned full marks for their pirouette, but a deftly performed triple salchow got them back on track. Finding grip, or the lack of it, to be the problem for the lumbering rover, Hammond and Simpson eventually decided to give up the struggle. The iconic 911 at Gressley on White seemed to be in its spiritual home amongst the ski slopes, with the duo coming in 6th quickest overall. And despite some wayward cornering, topping the timesheets was that old car control master himself, Dermot Carnegie, guided by Paul Bosden. Using his years of rallycross experience, Carnegie came in 5 seconds ahead of the chasing pack with a time at 2 minutes 20. Although not in the running, Chiak and Wakefield revelled in the ice, putting in the 3rd quickest time of the day.
There's always dramas in the road, really, one way or the other. We're driving like bats out of hell and just trying to keep up with everybody else. Maybe we get a medal for just endurance, really, and having sort of kept on going.
Lunch was on site, and after a hearty repast, crews were once again back to the ice for Test 3. Carnegie and Bosdet again took top spot. Pressing on into some truly stunning landscape, the route became more rugged and more breathtaking, with a pass through the spectacular overhanging cliffs of the Col de la Machine. This narrow ribbon of tarmac threading its way through icicle-encrusted overhangs made for yet another visual treat on the journey, with impressive views emerging at every turn of every bend. As we descend towards the Rhone Valley and through the Ardèche region, we encounter more snow and another regularity to keep crews on their toes. The Ardèche is best known outside of France for its many prehistoric cave paintings, which attest to the fact that the area has been the site of human habitation for over 200,000 years. With such a rugged yet beautiful landscape, it isn't difficult to see why. As the sun sets on the Rhone Valley, the Domaine de Tourzon restaurant is the perfect venue for our evening halt. It's a chance to reflect on the day's events.
We did pretty well actually on the ice rink. We got round it once, and then the second time we almost made it, but we didn't quite, so they had to pull us out.
It's stuck on the car and I can't unhook it. So a little bit of lateral thinking. I sort of wound it around the bumpers as if we were on a boat. And it sort of worked, but we need cable ties to secure it. Cable ties, wire coat hanger, duct tape, you can fix anything.
We've had a good day, yeah. We've been fast and we're not last anymore.
I wouldn't be so sure.
Tony got beached on one of the sections, and we had to tow him back off the snow and onto the road again.
There's a little whirring noise in there, which means the rear bearing's beginning to struggle. So being a bit economical with that, looking after it. We had a long, fast night last night, which has warmed all the oil up, and from what I can smell, the gearbox oil is pretty well used. So we're just going to slosh some more in tonight.
The route's been fantastic, the regularities have been fun, bit of snow, that was a thrill. The ice track was fantastic fun. So yeah, no, really good day. I'm lucky with the weather too.
Well, rally is fine, weather is great, landscape is gorgeous, and our car is going really well. So everything is good. We're enjoying it very much.
It's an excellent route. The timing is spot on. Certainly the road sections, everybody's managing to get in on time, no problem at all. So everyone's driving very sensibly, which is a good thing. So as far as I'm concerned, the route's great, the timing's spot on, and I can't wait for tonight.
A fine French supper, minus the regional wine, of course, would fortify crews for the night ahead. Crews collected a fresh set of detailed maps and route instructions from the organisers, who had laid on 2 nocturnal regularities and a time control section. Navigators would have no prior knowledge of what lay ahead, so it would be a level playing field on which to test their skills.
The French roads out in the countryside, you can't necessarily see where the junctions are, so you can be hovering for ages and you lose so much time that the number of penalties tonight will probably double, probably treble. The board will look very different in 3-4 hours' time.
The long day was about to get longer as crews disappeared into the darkness of the evening section and what would become another highlight of the Winter Challenge to Monte Carlo. Armed with the new uprated 25,000 scale maps, navigators could more accurately guide their drivers, except in some cases where the driver's enthusiasm gets the better of them. Meanwhile, Block 6 and Canavan were one of only 2 crews to totally clean the section.
Just incredible. Probably the best ever night event I've done. It was worth coming just for that.
It was excellent, yeah? Never had done such a night rally, yeah? This was really a stage, yeah? Really unbelievable. I love it.
The maps read so well under the potty. Paul drove incredibly, and we cleaned it. We cleaned it with no penalties. It's great.
It was pretty good on the maps, I have to say. The clearest calling of bends ever. So
I am loving these 25,000 scale maps though. They are really good in detail, which makes life a lot easier.
That was such a thrill, and we managed to make every single thing without a wrong slot. We only went wrong on the link sections because we both weren't paying any attention.
I always dread the night sections, but it was just so good that I want to do it again.
It was hard work to stay on time, hard work on the driver, hard work on the navigator, calling out all the bends, getting the slots, you know, and just keeping on time.
I just said you didn't look up all that, you just called the bends the whole time. So
Never saw the road, mate. Never saw the road.
I didn't either.
After experiencing a thrilling ninth section and now over halfway through the rally, Hancocks and Lambley in their triumph grabbed top spot from Gressley and White, while Carnegie and Bosted had slipped from their earlier lofty position into third.
Another fairly long day today, but nowhere near as long as the, was it 12 hours, 14 hours I think yesterday?
If it's morning, it must be time for coffee and croissants. already there was some drama brewing outside in the hotel car park.
What's happening, Daniel?
We are not sure. There was a certain sound yesterday, and when we went over all these bumpers, it started always with a sound, and I feel safer if the mechanics check it.
No, I think we might have picked up a stone in the oil cooler last night because we were losing a lot of oil. Pull the sump off and weld it up, pull the cooler out and blank it off. Great.
Some people seem to have all the luck.
I've just been informed we made on one of the regularities the top 10, one of the top 10. So I'm going to take that and run with it. Never mind about getting lost last night and everybody giving up on us.
As we leave Valence and head back into the Ardèche for another set of regularities, Leg 4 sees us back in the rallying playground of the mountains, then descending into the flatter terrain and vineyards of the Châteauneuf-du-Pape wine-growing region. As usual, the route planners were throwing in a few little puzzles to catch the unwary, but a sneaky little triangle placed before the timing point mainly failed to catch our now wise-to-the-tricks crews. The morning pit stop revealed a familiar face who had tales of yet more mechanical woes.
Came out this morning, and as I was checking her through, I looked in the sump guard and I've got a pool of oil sitting in the sump guard. So what it turns out to be is we've had a stone come through the front grille, it's taken out the top of the oil cooler, smacked the union and cracked it, just enough to weep enough oil out to make me really nervous. So this morning we had to cut the fresh regularity to blank the cooler off, cut the hoses and bypass the whole thing, but the cooler is completely destroyed. But you know, we've just aced that regularity, so it's not as if we can't do it, just the equipment's getting a bit old.
We're not quite sure where we are, possibly first, depending on whether my times are correct and his times are correct, but I don't know.
Just probably
It's literally a couple of seconds
less than
with
5 minutes.
leapfrogging.
Regularities 3 and 4 would take teams through another complete change in terrain as they press on through the wine-producing region of Provence, where the first vines were planted by the Romans almost 2,000 years ago. Looking more like a desert rally, the test through the rambling vineyards brings us to the stunning lunch stop among barrels of the precious liquid, La Maison Augier Winery.
Today's been really good. Last night was a complete disaster, but we pulled it back together today. That still won't put us up the leaderboard enough to get any results.
Is it a tablecloth or a mat?
Well, we have been using it as a tablecloth in our earlier part of the week, but we've actually nailed the navigation and we're back on track, yeah.
Departing the lunch stop, crews cover the kilometres as we head west towards the Luberon mountain range, an area dotted with spectacular hill villages and abundant hairpins. Two further regularities take us across the Plateau de Vaucluse to the afternoon's pit stop. The beautiful hilltop village of Gourd makes the ideal vantage point for a cup of tea and a moment to take in the stunning view. as shadows lengthen and dusk begins to fall in Provence, crews arrive at the luxury spa resort of the Moulin de Vernègue for the last overnight halt before the finish.
Today went pretty well. It's quite a nice run, a lot better than last night and less pressure. So here we are, one more day to go.
No, it's been a lovely day today. Cruised along happily, the car's held in one piece. Because we're 200 years old between the three of us, you see, so don't tell everybody that. The thing for me is that if you enjoy cars, this is the way to enjoy them. I've just been on the best roads I've ever been on in my life. And they're every variety, from just the twistiest, tightest native gorges to great open, sweeping beds. It's magic.
Here we are at the end of leg 4 at Malamore. We had a really long day yesterday, leg 3. We managed to find a good amount of snow, some of the regularities where we had some people stuck. The tests on the ice circuit were a great success, so that's really good. And a really competitive night section last night. Currently, one day to go. The top 2 are split by 3 seconds, which is really good. Good competitive event, which is great.
Even for the south of France, overnight temperatures plummeted and a frosty morning dawns at the Moulin de Vernègue. Ahead lies the final day's push to the finish.
Final push. I hope it doesn't need a push. The final frontier!
Starting with a lengthy road section from Malamore, we head eastwards towards the Southern Alps. With 6 further regularities to go, the competition was anyone's to snatch or throw away before seeing the flag at the top of that most famous of rally roads, the Col de Torini. Afterwards, it would be on to Monte Carlo for the awards gala. A sneaky timing point designed to catch out the unwary failed to trouble the top crews, who were by now well used to the devious little tricks of those shadowy characters known as hero route planners. And finally, it was time for the icing on the cake. Clinging to the side of the mountain, one of the most famous ribbons of tarmac in the world is the Col de Torini. Set in the mountains just north of the French Riviera, this iconic rally road has been the scene of many a high-octane contest. But today, here and now, the Grand Road snakes its way towards the Winter Challenge finish line at the famous Hôtel des Trois Vallées. Putting in a perfectly timed run on the last regularity, it was the pairing of Gressley and White taking top spot, while the chasing pack had a familiar ring to it, led by Carnegie and Bosdet. Hancocks and Lambley were third in their triumph, followed by Schiack and Wakefield and Bloxich and Canavan. For our teams, it would be a fitting finale to what had been a cracking rally. As our intrepid competitors filed across the line, the times were in and over 1,000 miles had come down to mere seconds.
I'm still shaking. Fantastic. The Touquet are here. I'd had my doubts at some times, but to do this last stretch, 10 kilometres up the Torini, the world's most famous rally road, you can't beat that on any rally. It's special.
Enthusiasm over common sense.
Absolutely.
The only way to describe it.
Yep.
The Rover did, no breakdowns.
Oh yes, oh yes.
A little modification to the clutch return spring with a bungee cord, and that was it.
And we've got a list of things we've got to do when we get home.
Yes.
That was absolutely amazing, fantastic. Loads of tight bends, hairpins. I think that timing was okay, but whether it's good enough for the win, I doubt it.
What a finish this is. I mean, it's I've done it a few times, but actually to have the finish arch there and that being the stop line of the final reg is something else. And it's snowing. It is the Winter Challenge after all.
The week itself has been absolutely brilliant. I think Hero this time have got the route spot on, the timing was spot on, marshals were great, hotels were absolutely wonderful. I think this is a good blueprint for the ones to come in the future.
By just 17 seconds, the 2018 Winter Challenge had been claimed by Daniel Gressley and Elise White, beating off the Rally Long Challenge from Hancocks and Lambley, who in turn just about held off Bloxage and Canavan in third place. From the snow to the luxury of Monte Carlo, after such a wonderful event full of hard-fought competition, there would be no better venue for an awards presentation than the opulent surroundings of the Hôtel Hermitage.
It's been so fun. I've never had so much fun around here. And finally, a big thank you to Dan for giving me the opportunity to navigate with him, and also for choosing to have a woman tell him what to do for 5 days. So.
First blood in the battle for the 2018 Hero Cup goes to Daniel Gressley, while Elise White looked class of the field in the chase for the Navigator's Prize, the Golden Roma. Join us next time for the Scottish Malts.